Hello and welcome to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. More specifically, the very first Phoenix Wright game right now. So, I have played this game many times. I've played it on my DS, I've played it on my phone, I've played it on my 3DS. Now I'm playing it on a Switch. So, yeah, I've played this several times. So I kind of already know what's going to happen, but I'm going to have a little fun with it. So really quick, let me double check my options real quick. Let's see, I think we're fine with this. Let's see. Single box skip I think is a good idea. On. Vibration, I think it only really matters if I'm holding a Joy-Con or a Pro Controller. Though I've got a controller, I don't think it's a Pro Controller. I think it's like a sanctioned, off-brand. Text box. No, we'll leave it as is. Alright. Just want to make sure our settings are good before we start this. Alright, so, episode 1, the first turnabout. How it all starts with Phoenix Wright. Alright, let's have some fun. I'm gonna try to do some voices too, because, well, that should be very fun to do. Damn it! Why me? I can't get caught. Not like this. I gotta find someone to pin this on. Someone like him. I'll make it look like he did it. Boy, am I nervous. Right? Oh, hey, Chief. Phew, I'm glad you made it on time. Well, I made it on time. I goof sometimes when I read these things. Well, everyone takes on a murder trial right out off the bat like this. It says a lot about you, and your client as well. Thanks. Actually, it's because I owe him a favor. A favor? You mean you knew the defendant before this case? Yes. Actually, I kind of owe him my current... He's one of the reasons I became an attorney. Well, that's news to me. I want to help him any way I can. I just really want to help him. I owe him that much. It's over! My life, everything, it's all over. Is that your client screaming over there? Yeah, it's him. I'm gonna do it! I'm gonna die! It sounds like he wants to die. Yeah. Nick! Hey there, Larry. Dude, I'm so guilty. Tell them I'm guilty. Give me the death sentence. I ain't afraid to die. What? What's wrong, Larry? I finished. I can't live in a world without her. I can't. Who took her away from me, Nick? Who did this? Oh, Nick, you gotta tell me, who took my baby away? The person responsible for your girlfriend's death. The newspapers say it was you. My name is Phoenix Wright. Here's the story. My first case is a fairly simple one. A young woman was killed in her apartment. The guy they arrested was the unlucky sap dating her. Larry Butts, my best friend since grade school. Our school had a saying, when something smells, it's usually... In the 23 years I've known him, it's usually been true. He has a knack for getting himself into trouble. One thing I can say, though, it's usually not his fault. He just has terrible luck. But I know better than anyone that he's a good guy at heart. That and I owe him one, which is why I took the case, to clear his name. And that's just what I'm going to do. So, I'm trying to establish voices. I think Phoenix is just going to be my normal speaking voice, but maybe more confidence. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out Larry. I mean, I'll figure him out. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Larry Butts.
The prosecution is ready, Your Honor.
The defense is ready, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, this is your first trial, is it not? Yes, Your Honor. I'm a little nervous. Your conduct during this trial will decide the fate of your client. Murder is a serious charge. For your client's sake, I hope you can control your nerves. Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, given the circumstances, I think we should have a test to ascertain your readiness. Yes, Your Honor. Hands shaking, eyesight fading. Your test will consist of a few simple questions. Answer them clearly and concisely. Please, state the name of the defendant in this case. That'd be Larry Butts. The defendant, well, that's Larry Butts, Your Honor. Correct. Just keep your wits about you and you'll do fine. Next question. This is a murder trial. Tell me, what's the victim's name? Phew, I know this one. I read the case report over cover to cover so many times. It's... Wait. Uh-oh. No way! I forgot! I'm drawing a total blank here. Phoenix, are you absolutely sure you're up to this? You don't even know the victim's name? Oh, the victim. Of course, I know the victim's name. I, just forgot. Temporarily. I think I feel a migraine coming on. Look, the victim's name is listed in the court record. Just press the R button to check it anytime, okay? Remember to check it often. Do it for me, please. I'm begging you. Alright, we're checking. Cindy. Okay, profiles. Cindy Stone. Mr. Wright, who is the victim in this case? The victim's name is Cindy Stone. Correct. Now, tell me, what was the cause of death? She died because she was hit with a blunt object. She was struck once by a blunt object. Correct. You've answered all my questions. I see no reason why we shouldn't proceed. You seem much more relaxed, Mr. Wright. Good for you. Thank you, Your Honor. Because I don't feel relaxed, that's for sure. Well then, first, a question for the prosecution. Mr. Payne.
Yes, Your Honor.
As Mr. Wright just told us, the victim was struck with a blunt object. Would you explain to the court just what the object was?
The murder weapon was the statue of the thinker. It was found lying on the floor next to the victim.
I see. The court accepts it into evidence.
Right. Be sure to pay attention to any evidence added during the trial. That evidence is the only ammunition you have in court. Use the R button to check the court record frequently.
Mr. Payne, the prosecution may call its first witness.
The prosecution calls the defendant, Mr. Butts, to the stand.
Chief, what do I do now? Pay attention. You don't want to miss any information that might help your client's case. You'll get your chance to respond to the prosecution later, so be ready. Let's just hope he doesn't say anything unfortunate. Uh-oh, Larry gets excited easily. This could be bad.
Ahem. Mr. Butts, is it not true that the victim had recently dumped you?
Hey, watch it, buddy! We were great together. We were Romeo and Juliet, Cleopatra and Mark Anthony! Didn't they all die? I wasn't dumped. She just wasn't taking my phone calls. Or seeing me. Ever. Wasn't to you anyway!
Mr. Butts, what you described is generally what we mean by dumped. In fact, she had completely abandoned you and was seeing other men. She had just returned from overseas with one of them the day before the murder.
What do you mean, one of them? Lies! All of it lies! I don't believe a word of it.
Your Honor, the victim's passport. According to this, she was in Paris until the day before she died.
Indeed, she appears to have returned the day before the murder.
Dude, no way!
The victim was a model, but did not have a large income. It appears that she had several sugar daddies.
Daddies? Sugar?
Yes, older men who gave her money and gifts. She took their money and used it to support her lifestyle.
Dude?
We can clearly see what kind of woman this Miss Stone was. Tell me, Mr. Butts, what do you think of her now?
Oh, pardon.
Right. I don't think you want him to answer that question.
Yeah, Larry has a way of running his mouth in all the wrong directions. Should I?
I think we should stop him from answering. What do you... Yeah. My client had no idea the victim was seeing other men. That question is irrelevant to this case.
Dude, Nick, what do you mean, irrelevant? That cheating she-dog. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna drop dead. Yeah, and when I meet her in the afterlife, I'm going to get to the bottom of this.
Let's continue with the trial, shall we?
I believe the accused's motive is clear to everyone.
Yes, quite. Ooh, sorry.
Oh boy, this is not looking so good.
Next question. You went to the victim's apartment on the day of the murder, did you not? Well, did you or did you not? Well, maybe I did, and maybe I didn't.
Uh-oh. He went.
What do I do?
Stop him from answering. I'll send him a signal.
I like a dog. Well, it's like this. I don't remember.
You don't remember? Well then, we'll just have to remind you.
I got a bad feeling about this.
We have a witness that can prove he did go to the victim's apartment that day.
Well, that simplifies matters. Who is your witness?
The man who found the victim's body. Just before making the gruesome discovery. He saw the defendant fleeing the scene of the crime.
Order! Order in the court! Mr. Payne, the prosecution may call its witness.
Yes, Your Honor.
This is bad.
On the day of the murder, my witness was selling newspapers to the victim's building. Please bring Mr. Frank Sowit to the stand. Mr. Sowit, you sell newspaper subscriptions. Is this correct?
Oh, yes! Newspapers! Yes!
Mr. Sowit, you may proceed with your testimony. Please tell the court what you saw on the day of the murder.
Here we go. I was going door to door, selling subscriptions when I saw a man fleeing an apartment. I thought he must be in a hurry because he left the door half open behind him. Thinking it strange, I looked inside the apartment. When I saw her lying there, a woman not moving, dead! I quailed in fright and found myself unable to go inside. I thought to call the police immediately. However, the phone in her apartment wasn't working. I went to a nearby park and found a public phone. I remember the time exactly. It was 1:00 p.m. The man who ran was, without a doubt, the defendant sitting right over there. Larry, why didn't you tell me the truth? I can't defend you against a testimony like that.
Incidentally, why wasn't the phone in the victim's apartment working?
Your Honor, at the time of the murder, there was a blackout in the building.
Aren't phones supposed to work during a blackout?
Yes, Your Honor. However, some cordless phones may not function normally. The phone that Mr. Sowit used was one of those. Your Honor, I have a record of the blackout for your perusal.
Now, Mr. Wright,
Yes. Yes, Your Honor?
you may begin your cross-examination.
Cross-examination, Your Honor?
Alright, Wright, this is it. The real deal.
What exactly am I supposed to do?
Why, you exposed the lies in the testimony the witness just gave. Lies? What? He was lying?
Your client is innocent, right? Then that witness must have lied in his testimony. Or is your client really guilty? How do I prove he's not?
You hold the key. It's in the evidence. Compare the witness's testimony to the evidence at hand.
There's bound to be a contradiction in there. First, find the contradictions between the court record and the witness's testimony. Then, once you've found the contradicting evidence, present it and rub it in the witness's face. Okay. Open the court record with R, then point out the contradictions in the testimony. Alright. So I'm not going to repeat the cross-testimony stuff. Or the cross-examination. So he was going door to door when selling subscriptions and saw a man fleeing the apartment. So there shouldn't be anything about that. I mean, that's part of his testimony. I thought he must be in a hurry because he left the door half open behind him. Let's press him. Half open, you say? Yes, the door was open halfway, yes. I watched for a moment, but no one came to close the door. That's odd in a big city like this, I thought.
I see. And what happened next?
Thinking it's strange, I looked inside the apartment. We're gonna press him on this one too. What gave you the idea to do that?
Well, the door was half open, you see.
Isn't it only human to want to peek? We climb mountains because they are there. It's the same thing.
Truer words have never been spoken. Anyone would look inside.
Why did Payne cut him off so quickly?
So, you looked into the apartment. What happened then?
I saw her lying there, a woman, not moving, dead. Oh, how would you know she was dead? Just by looking.
Are you sure she was dead?
Well, no, I guess I wasn't. But she wasn't moving at all, and there was blood everywhere.
I guess that would look fatal to anyone.
Very well. What happened next?
See, I quailed and frightened, found myself unable to go inside. True, okay. I thought to call the police immediately. Okay, that checks out. However, the phone in her apartment wasn't working. Hold it! The phone in her apartment wasn't working?
Yes, I mean, no, it wasn't, right?
But you said you didn't go into the apartment, or did you?
Oh, that. I can explain that. There was a cordless phone on a shelf in the entranceway. I reached inside and tried using that to call.
And
that phone wasn't working, correct? What happened next?
okay, I went to a nearby park and found a public phone. I won't press that yet.
I remember the time exactly. It was 1 p.m.
Alright, so you say you know the time. Except that doesn't fit. That fits, but that doesn't.
Objection!
You found the body at 1 p.m. You're sure?
Yes, it was 1 p.m. for certain.
Frankly, I find that hard to believe. Your statement directly contradicts the autopsy report. The autopsy notes that time of the autopsy notes the time of death at sometime after 4 p.m. There was no body to find at 1 o'clock p.m. How do you explain this 3-hour gap?
Oh, that. Oh. This is trivial. The witness merely forgot the time.
After his testimony, I find that hard to believe. Mr. Sawit, why were you so certain that you found the body at 1 p.m.?
Gee, that's a really good question. Great job, Wright. You put him on the spot. That's all you have to do. Point out the contradictions. Lies always beget more lies. See through one, and their whole story falls apart. Wait, I remember now.
Would you care to give your testimony again? Alright, next up.
You see, when I found the body, I heard the time. There was a voice saying the time. It was probably coming from the television. Oh, but it was 3 hours off, wasn't it? I guess the victim must have been watching a video of a tape program. That's why I thought it was 1 p.m. Terribly sorry about the misunderstanding.
Oh, I think we already see a problem here. I see. You heard a voice saying the time on a taped program. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness.
Right. You know what to do.
I've got this one. So I think we got a good one. Let's see. Found the body. I heard the time. We'll press him a little bit. You said heard, not saw.
Yes, heard. All I saw was the body lying there. I didn't think to look at anything else, least of all my watch.
Isn't that a little strange? So you're saying you heard something? But what if you were so shocked by the body you wouldn't hear anything at all?
The witness did say he actually heard the time. It's ludicrous to suggest that he wouldn't hear anything.
I have to agree with the prosecution. Witness, continue your testimony.
There's a voice saying the time.
Okay, sorry, I started doing the voice. Probably coming from the television. We got a problem there. because don't we have this blackout from noon to 6 p.m.?
Objection!
Hold it right there. The prosecution has said there was a blackout at the time of the discovery. And this record proves it. You couldn't have heard a television or a video.
Well...
The defense has a point. Do you have an explanation for this, Mr. Sowit?
No, I find it quite puzzling myself. Quite. Ah! Wait, I remember now.
Mr. Sowit? The court would prefer to hear an accurate testimony from the very beginning. These constant corrections are harming your credibility. That, and you seem rather distraught.
My apologies, Your Honor. It must have been the shock of finding the body.
Very well, Mr. Sowit. Let's hear your testimony once more, please. So why did you hear the time?
Actually, I didn't hear the time. I saw it. There was a table clock in the apartment, wasn't there? Yeah, the murder weapon. The killer used it to hit the victim. That must have been what I saw.
You saw a clock. Well, I guess that would explain it. The defense may cross-examine the witness. Gladly. Alright. So let's take a look real quick. So, we have no clock, but he said it was the thinker. So according to the evidence we have, that would be this. But it doesn't say it's a clock, does it? So let's take a look here. There was a table clock in the apartment, wasn't there? Yeah, the murder weapon. The killer used it to hit the victim. We got a problem. Bit of a problem here.
Objection!
Wait just a moment. The murder weapon wasn't a clock. It was this statue. Now, how is this supposed to be a clock?
What? You with your objections and your evidence? Who do you think you are?
Just answer the question, Mr. Sowit.
Hey, I saw it there, okay? That's a clock. Your Honor, if I may.
Yes, Mr. Payne?
As the witness stated, this statue is indeed a clock. The neck is a switch. You just tilt it and it says the time out loud. As it doesn't look like a clock, I submitted it as a statue. My apologies.
I see. So the murder weapon was a table clock after all. Well, Mr. Wright, it appears that the witness's testimony was correct. This is a clock. Do you have any problems with this testimony now? Yes, I do. Your Honor, there is a gaping hole in the witness's testimony. The only way he could have known the weapon was a clock is to hold it in his hand. Yet the witness testified that he never entered the apartment. Clearly a contradiction. Indeed. The witness knew it was a clock because he went into the apartment. You're lying. You were inside the apartment on the day of the murder.
Oh yeah? Prove it! Prove I went in there!
I'll do better than that. I can prove you're the one who killed her. You struck her with the clock, and the shock of the blow triggered the clock's voice. That was the sound you heard. Order in the court. Intriguing. Please continue, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Sowit, the sound must have left quite an impression on you. Understandable, since the murder weapon spoke just as you hit the victim. That voice was burned into your mind. That's why you were so certain about the time.
What's the meaning of this? This is all baseless conjecture. faceless. Just look at the witness's face! Would the witness care to elaborate? Did you strike the victim with the clock?
That day, I never... Look, I heard, I saw...
Shut up! I hate you! It was him, I tell you. I saw him! He killed her, and he should burn! Burn! Give him death! Order! Order in the court, I say!
Your Honor, a moment, please. There isn't a shred of evidence supporting the defenseless claims.
Mr. Wright, Your Honor, you claim the sound of the witness heard came from the clock. Do you have any evidence? The whole case is riding on this. You better think it through carefully. Your Honor, the sound Mr. Sowett heard was definitely this clock. A fact which is clear if you simply try sounding the clock. Let's sound the clock now, here in this court. Your Honor, may I have the clock? I ask the court to listen very carefully. I think it's 8:25. That certainly is a strange way to announce the time. Well, he is the thinker, after all. So, we've heard the clock. What are your conclusions, Mr. Wright? Mr. Payne, can you tell me what time it is now?
It's 11:25.
As you can see, this clock is exactly 3 hours slow. Precisely the discrepancy between what Mr. Sowett heard and the actual time of death. So, Mr. Sowett, try to talk your way out of this one. You forgot one thing! Uh-oh. What's he talking about now? While it may seem like that clock is running 3 hours slow, it proves nothing! How do you know it was running 3 hours slow on the day of the murder? If you can't prove that, you don't have a case! He's right. How am I going to prove that? Damn it! I was so close. Mr. Wright, it seems you lack the critical evidence to support your claim. Yes, Your Honor. This means I cannot let you indict this witness. Unfortunately, this ends the cross-examination of Mr. Frank Sowett. I come all the way down here to testify, and look what happens! You treat me like a criminal! A criminal! You lawyers are all slime! I almost had him. Sorry, Larry. I failed you. There's nothing I can do about now.
Not so fast, Mr. Sowett.
Chief!
Listen up, Wright. Don't throw this one away. Not like this. Think!
But, Chief, it's over. I can't prove the clock was slow the day of the murder. Nobody can prove that.
Well, yes.
But that doesn't mean you can't still win. Try thinking out of the box. Don't waste time doubting the facts. Assume the clock was 3 hours slow, and think through it. Ask yourself, why was the clock 3 hours slow? Figure out the reason, and you'll have your proof. Right? Right? Can you think of a reason as to why the clock would be 3 hours slow? The victim apparently arrived at home from Paris on... see right there, that should be the clue. Because if she was out on holiday or anything, or on vacation, she may have needed a clock and she would have set the time accordingly. Wait! Maybe I can prove it. You must have evidence somewhere that can prove it, Wright. Find it and let him have it.
Well, Mr. Wright, you say the clock was already running slow on the day of the murder. Have you found evidence to support this claim?
Of course. There is a piece of evidence in the court record that can prove my claim beyond a doubt. Tough words. Let's see you pull this one off.
Let's see this evidence that proves why the clock was running slow. The victim had just returned home from abroad the day before the murder. As we all know, the time difference between here and Paris is 9 hours. When it's 4 p.m. here, it's 1 a.m. the next day here. The clock wasn't 3 hours slow, it was 9 hours fast! The victim hadn't reset her clock since returning home. That's why the time you heard when you struck her dead in her apartment was wrong. Proof enough for you, Mr. Sowit. Or should I say, Mr. Did It? There he goes. Order! Order, I say! Well, this case has certainly turned out differently than we all expected. Mr. Payne, you're a witness.
He was arrested and has been taken away, Your Honor.
Very well. Mr. Wright?
Yes, Your Honor.
I have to say, I'm impressed. I don't think I've ever seen someone complete a defense so quickly. And find the true culprit at the same time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
At this point, this is only a formality, but this court finds the defendant, Mr. Larry Butts, not guilty. And with that, this court is adjourned.
It turns out that Mr. Frank Sowit was a common burglar. He posed as a newspaper salesman to check and see when people were out of the house. That day, when Larry went to her apartment, the victim wasn't home. After he left, Mr. Sowit let himself in to do his dirty work. While he was searching her place, the victim returned. Flustered, Mr. Sowit grabbed the nearest blunt object he could find. Whew! I still can't believe we won. Right! Good job in there. Congratulations. Thanks, Chief. I owe it all to you. Not at all, not at all. You fought your own battles in there. It's been a while since I've seen a trial end on such a satisfying note. I've never seen the Chief looking this happy. If she's glad, imagine how Larry must feel. Oh, actually, something I just noticed that I don't like. Hold on. I'm gonna make a little change here. What was it? Text box? Low transparency. I like the portraits. My life is over! Larry, you're supposed to be happy. What's wrong now? Aw, Nick. Don't worry about me. I'll be dead and gone soon. Good. Wait, no, I mean, bad. Larry, you're innocent. The case is closed. But my Cindy Wendy's gone, man. Gone forever. Larry, she wasn't... Nah, never mind. Congratulations, Harry. Harry? Yes, you. I can practically see the headlines now. Harry Butts, innocent. Thanks. I really owe you one. I won't forget this, ever. Let's celebrate. Dinner, movie, my treat. Oh no, I couldn't. Hey, I was the one who got you off the hook. Oh, hey! Here, take this. It's a present. present for me? Wait, wasn't this the evidence that... Actually, I made this clock for her. I made one for her and one for me. Really? You made this? Well, thank you. I'll keep it as a memento. Yo, Nick. Can you believe it? I was so into that chick. And she was just playing me for a fool. Don't that make you just want to cry? Larry, are you so sure? Excuse me? I think she caught quite a lot of you, in her own way. Nah, you don't gotta sympathize with me, it's okay. Oh, I'm not just sympathizing, really. Isn't that right, Wright? Don't you have something to show your friend? Something that proves how she felt about him? One second, yeah. Oh yeah, right. What the heck is she talking about? There, do this. Check this out, Larry. Proof positive you weren't just some chump to her. Huh? What about the clock? This is the clock you made her, Larry. And she took it with her when she traveled. Whatever. She probably just needed a clock, that's all. You think so? It's a pretty heavy clock to take traveling. Well, make of it what you will. Hey, Nick. I'm glad I asked you to be my lawyer. Really, I am. Thanks. Hope that made him feel a little better. Right? I hope you see the importance of evidence now. Also, hopefully you realize things change depending on how you look at them. People, too. We never really know if our clients are guilty or innocent. All we can do is believe in them. And in order to believe in them, you have to believe in yourself. Right? Listen, learn, grow strong. Never let go of what you believe in. Never. Well, I think our work is done. Shall we be off? Yeah, I guess so. Say, how about dinner? On me? We'll drink a toast to innocent butts. Yeah. Oh, speaking of Harry, you were saying part of why you became a lawyer was because of him. Yeah, part, at least. You'll have to tell me more about it sometime. Maybe over drinks. And so, my first trial came to a close. Harry slapped me on the... I just said Harry, jeez. Larry slapped me on the back and said, "Gee, Nick, it's good to have friends." But I'm pretty sure he's not going to pay us. Unless you count the clock he gave Mia. I didn't know it then. But that clock was soon going to be at the center of another incident. And my promise to tell Chief about Larry would be one promise that I wouldn't be able to keep. And that would be the end of the first one. So it's doing its save. We'll save our progress because that's all we're doing. Okay. So I just had to quit the game because I didn't want to start the story at all yet. So you probably would have just seen me quickly cut. Anyway, so I'm thinking I am going to go ahead and get this on my YouTube channel and just kind of get all this, get this trilogy on here because I do like the Phoenix Wright games. I really do. I just hope that one day they'll add the Apollo Justice game, and then maybe reintroduce the two 3DS games. That's what I'm hoping, eventually. But right now, this is something I'm probably gonna be recording, you know, probably in like big swathes and, okay, I can't even speak.
See, this is what happens when you do things unscripted, people. But anyway, since I'm very familiar with the series, I kind of know where to stop. So that does make this part easy. Anyway, so that's it for now, but we will be back and we'll continue the next turnabout. So until then, I'll catch you later.